Hey Band Network Leadership Series. Welcome to the Hey Band Network. We are a part of the Leadership Series, and today we have Scooter Miller from Seymour ISD here in Texas. And so welcome to the Hey Band Network.
Hey, thank you.
We're glad to join us. Tell us a little bit about the program that you teach at and the band program where you're at in Seymour.
Here in Seymour, we're a 2A school. We're about 45 minutes south of Wichita Falls. If you were trying to get to Lubbock from Dallas, we're the last place to go to the bathroom. We're exactly halfway. So that's what we're best known for, is being the bathroom break on the way to Texas Tech for all those Metroplex kids. But got about 80 kids in the band program out here in the high school. We're had a lot of success. We really are having a good time out here. This is our 10th year of being the director out here.
So you've got 80 kids. So what does that look like in, let's say, the concert season? Is that one band? You have a couple bands or other groups that you might have?
Due to staffing, we have one band right now. My wife is my assistant. She's actually a middle school math teacher, and she helps me out 5 periods a day and then does 3 periods of middle school math down there. Our drumline instructor was a substitute teacher until this year. We just hired her as a high school math teacher. So she'll be coming in helping us just on Tuesday nights. And we also have a twirling instructor that's an elementary teacher, but our district is good enough to give each one of those a $2,000 stipend to help us out. But my wife is my right hand. She's been my assistant for the last 12 years. I'd had a little bit of success until she came along, and then she kicked me in the tail, and we've been great since then.
Well, that's awesome. So let's give it a shot. What's your wife's name? Let's get her.
Liz Miller. Liz Miller. She's the brains. Anybody in our region knows that's the one you talk to if you need anything with us. So.
Well, that's awesome. So tell us, like you teach 612. Tell everybody kind of about your program, where you start kids in band, and then how does that progress, and how do you use them when you get to the marching band components of band?
We teach from 5 through 12. Start beginners in the 5th grade, usually all in one classroom due to space. We have a choir room. There's never actually been a choir in Seymour since they built the high school in 1989, but it still says choir on the room over there. It's our band uniform room is what we use it for. We can split up every once in a while, and either her or I'll take a section over there. We only start winds. We don't start percussion until the second year. I tell my percussion kids, luckily now we have an instructor, but unfortunately, my percussion knowledge, I tell them I can teach you enough to play a 2A piece of music, but you're probably not going to be an all-state player as a percussionist unless you find somebody to work with. We don't have a private lesson program. We teach our own lessons when we can. So that's about all we do, really. They stay in one. We have a 6th grade band that's by itself. 7th and 8th go together. By then, the kids have an option when they go into 7th grade of not being in band. And then in high school, we have us for a fine arts credit, and we also have a music history class that I teach, and that's about it. So we carry quite a few of the kids. I always tell them if I can get them through the door in high school on the first day, I usually keep them. We don't lose many more than 2 or 3 kids a year that are actually enrolled in high school. So it really works out well for us. We've gotten very lucky. We had 40 kids when we got here in the high school band. So we've experienced a lot of growth.
And you share kids a lot, I'm guessing, with other activities.
Yes, just about all of my leadership team. They're either involved in ag, or they're on the football team, or they're cheerleaders. We have an unusual amount of drum majors because I'm just trying to plan A through Z for this year. So I have 4 drum majors in a band our size, which I know seems crazy, but it seems like I always lose one at some point for some reason. So we didn't know if we were going to have a varsity and a JV or how it was going to work. So we have 2 young ones that we picked as drum majors 3 and 4. And 3 of my 4 drum majors are cheerleaders. And then the 4th one is a captain on the football team. So we share a lot. We share a whole lot.
That's awesome, though. That's really cool to hear.
And everybody wants the same kids. We have our cross-country teams, both the boys and girls, they go to state just about every year, and they're all band kids. And the coach that came in, when he came in, we didn't have any. He started picking off band kids for it, and he said they just like to work. They just go. And so they take instruction really well, and they go. So that's what he does. He built it all with a band. So
when do you have practice? So how do you make that work with the kids sharing?
We just do Tuesday nights, and that's it. We have the coaches have been here. I think it's their 7th year. We've had the same coaching staff. We work really well with them. The cheer sponsor and I work really well together. So we all just sit down and we say, this is when we need them, and we're not going to cross over. We're not going to make the kids choose. My schedule gets set right after the football schedule, and then everybody else works around us. And I make sure I don't do anything important on a cross country day, and he doesn't do anything important on a day that I'm going. And we really don't run into any problems.
That's fantastic. It allows you to be successful too.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, we came in today to talk a little bit about leadership in a smaller classification school. And so I think this is a great place to start. So tell us about your leadership structure and kind of, you mentioned drum majors, and what are the different roles you have for students?
I have drum majors. We have 4 right now. Normally we go 2 or 3, depending on how our show is written and where I'm going to need people. We added this a couple of years ago because I was starting to have so many great candidates. I really want to give everybody a chance to participate that wants to do it. I don't want to tell a kid, no, you're not qualified to be a leader. I don't feel like I'm that good at it to be able to tell them that if it's something they're wanting to do, really. So we created a woodwind captain, a brass captain. They really lead my sectionals and they oversee those things, so I can use my drum majors elsewhere. And then we've got a captain for our section leader for each one of the sections, so that when we're teaching fundamentals, the kids are never in groups of about more than 5, and we can really focus on it. My main concern is, can they teach, and are they buying into the program? If they're buying into what I'm wanting them to do and they can teach well, I can teach them the other things that go along. We have a big thing of you say 2 positives before you say 1 negative, and every kid is going to participate. So your job is to know how to teach them. Discipline wise, we've got the chain of command. If something's going wrong, it goes to the woodwind captain or the brass captain first, and then it goes to the drum major. If they can't handle it, it goes to my wife, and then we tell them there's a big problem if I have to stop what I'm doing and come your direction to fix something like that. But very seldom do we ever have an issue anymore. We've got a pretty good tradition of success now. Having been to state marching contests the last 5 opportunities. The kids are buying into what we want them to do, and boy, they just teach like crazy. My wife and I stand back a lot of times and we don't know how it's happening. The kids do so much that it's incredible. And being a small town, we really rely on them. We rely on them for our visuals. When the designer gives me stuff and he can't give me ideas for visuals, then I turn to the kids and say, I've got this many counts. What are we going to fill it with? And they come up with that stuff themselves. We listen to them. We make sure their opinion is valued, and they buy into what we're doing. We're very lucky here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That's great. So much. And then the kids take the ownership in the program too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they really do.
So how do you get your students selected? I know we've kind of finished the end of the school year or just finishing up. How did your kids get through that process? What does that look like for you to get your drum majors selected and students in place?
For the drum majors, and I set in on a bunch of drum major things around here. We do a very democratic way, I think. This is probably bad, makes me a bad band director, but I don't care how well they can conduct. I can teach them how to conduct as well as I need them to. I care that they're setting the right example for my program. I always tell them, don't even bother trying out. If I can't walk by a classroom that is not the band hall at any time of the day and point you out to a new kid and say, this is what I want a band member to be like. I expect you to set the example all the time. So they come in already with high expectations of themselves, and then we put them through a pretty thorough interview process. I let the entire band vote. Each one of the band as a whole counts as 1 vote. Each one of my drum majors that are coming back or they were a part of it, they count once. My assistant counts once. And then my vote counts twice because I tell them it's my job on the line if you mess up. So then the lowest score wins when it's over. I already know if they can teach or not, and we've probably told them this might not be the right role for you at this time if they don't know how to teach or they don't know how to march. So really at that point, we just want to know, are they well-spoken? Can they think on their feet? Are they going to make right decisions along the way? This year we did it all through Google Meets, did the interview process. Everybody sat in on mute and they were texting me questions and we did it. So we were able to have a hard copy recording of it to go back to if there are ever any questions. We did the vote through Google Form. And honestly, it was a whole lot easier than it's been in the past, I think. I think it was a lot easier. And then for the section leaders after that, then the drum majors and I get together and we've got the list of everybody and we put together what we feel like is the best team and fills the weaknesses that we've got as a group. So, so far, nobody's really fought us on it, and we've been lucky that way.
And it's smart how you, like you just mentioned, you fill in the gaps after you get your drum majors in place. Now you fill in, what do we need and how do we, man, that's just building a good team.
Yeah, and normally on those, it seems like those kids start to move up. I've never had a problem going young for my leadership. So really in the section leaders right now, if you look, we've got a bunch of, the only requirement we have is you've had to march with us for 1 year. So I've got a lot that maybe we brought them up as an 8th grader and they've marched and they were ready. They were outstanding at that point and their peers wanted them to take over. So we get a lot of that where maybe the clarinet section will come to me and say, I know we have these upperclassmen that are doing it, but we like this freshman coming in is like really a hot shot and we want them to lead it. And it happens. Two of my drum majors I have right now began being drum majors as freshmen, and they've just gone all the way through the system. So they've got a lot of experience rolling into their senior year now. Going to leave me a big hole next year, but that's
yes,
yeah.
Train them up, train the young ones up.
We try.
That's really cool. And so you're big on training your kids. So what are some things you do to get them, or some ways you've trained them to be good teachers as a student, as a teenager?
When they're section leaders, we keep a pretty good eye on them. They're elder statesmen or whatever you would call it in the leadership. They're watching them, and we'll constantly be chirping in their ear, hey, we'll give them enough that they can fail but not embarrass themselves. And then we'll talk about what went wrong and what's a better way to handle that. I never thought about it, but one of our girls that was selected as drum major this year, in her interview, I asked her, what makes you feel like you're ready and prepared you for this? And she said, well, haven't you been training me since I was in the 5th grade? And you train us how to walk down the hall. You train us how to walk into a room, how we're going to do rehearsal. And my wife and I said, wow, we never actually thought about that. But yeah, we kind of do. We start training them. We tell them on the day they start band, well, your audition for drum major has just begun. And whatever you do in 5th grade, we may bring back to you in your interview when you're a senior. So, keep that in mind. But no, other than that, we have Mike Lunny, legend out in this area. We have him come in out every other year when we can afford it. And he gives them a good, strong day of his leadership training. But everything we do is just, you got to buy into it, buy into the program, do what we've taught you how to do. The day-to-day stuff really doesn't change much. We always take, just to make sure they know there's a buy-in, we ask every year for, hey, what do you think we need to change? They'll tell us something, and we make sure we incorporate at least one of their changes so they can see that we do listen to what they have to say. And that seems to help a whole lot. Other than that, man, I just got to get up and admit when I made a mistake. And that's something that they appreciate, that when you don't act like you're perfect and it's all their fault, so just take the blame when something doesn't work. I think we have too many people that don't. They put it off on the kids, and it ain't the kids' fault. It's my fault for not preparing them.
Awesome. But when you start summer camp, whatever that looks like this year, how do you use your leaders? You just kind of mentioned a little bit about it, but how do you use them on a day-to-day and a rehearsal through those things before you start school?
We really stress, and it starts with the letter that goes out at the beginning. If we're going to start rehearsal at 9:00, you need to be there at 8:55. You need to be ready to go. I tell my leaders, you're to be the first ones on the field and the last ones off. I'm going to come walking on the field at 9:00, and I want to see them working. And as soon as they see me turn the corner of the school, we got about a quarter-mile walk to the practice field to the stadium. They can see me coming. As soon as I come walking around, I'm always in some bright colored shirt. They see it, and you can hear them crank up, and they lead the whole thing. I'll tell them, today I want them to work on this, this, and this. Don't go on without it. They they follow the plan to a T. They'll tell me if they're running ahead, if they need more time. They tell me what they need to do, and then we adjust our plan and we go. And really, they'll run basically the first 2 days of it. Usually the third day we throw them in a block, and that's when my drum majors and I take over, and we see where they're going, we assess it, and then we send them off again after 10 or 15 minutes. Hey, go refresh these fundamentals, and that's it. But we spend a whole lot of time just working that block, because we know that that's the way he likes to write drill. And so we just try to fit what he's going to do for us, and he knows our program pretty well. So we work on those things. He knows what we do, and it really works out well for us.
So your leaders, when you start, like they actually teach the fundamentals and stuff, and they kind of, it's been passed down from previous years' knowledge, and then they just go off and you let them teach that right away.
Yeah, we don't really have a set march style. I tell the kids all the time, I intentionally picked a college that didn't have a marching band. I loved it so much, which is really weird that we're having success and I did not march at all in college. But we're kind of a hybrid marching band. If there's we got rid of cut time or mark time completely because we realized we're not actually, that's not going to get us bonus points anywhere for this awesome mark time. So let's just get rid of it. We've done things like that through the years. I don't really know how to describe our marching style. It's whatever fits our group that year, we'll tweak it and we'll make that change just a little bit. And then some of our biggest marching errors, I guess, and where I didn't catch some weird style thing we're doing, have ended up being really great visuals down the road. Mistakes that we had.
Nice.
So that I would like to take credit for knowing how to do this stuff, but I really don't. It's just, like I said, all the people around me. But they even lead our sectionals, our playing sectionals. They carry it over to concert season. They feel like it's their responsibility then too to make sure that their sections really know their parts well. We don't do any sectionals outside of the school day. If we're doing it, it's during the class period. We value the kids' time, and they're pulled in so many different directions that I can't do what I want to do. I have to do what's best for the kids. So, and then I've been very fortunate. The last 4 years, I've had my own sons in the high school band, and so we get to spend our time together there. I got a 7-year-old daughter that's on her way up now, so we'll see about that whenever she gets there. But it's now the band program here in Seymour. It's a whole family thing. It's really a great experience.
And that's special. It's just real special, and,
yeah.
And just listening to you talk about it, it's obviously unique in what you've created and allowed to develop. So maybe you've been there 12 years. And so how do you think you've developed this leadership stuff where kids take that ownership and go with it and know that's what's expected? How do you develop that? Or have there been things along the way, is like, that was a marker where it really changed and maybe there was something that happened to really ignite that?
We've had a couple of times that we can look back on when you could see there was a change that took place in the program. When we got here, Liz and I, we did everything. We had a loading crew, but we loaded the trailer so that they could see this is exactly how we want to load the trailer. We set the band hall up every day and put the chairs away so they could see this is exactly what's going on. Like we tell them, you walk down the hallway, you see a piece of trash. We would pick it up. That way they see this is the expectation. Little while after that, you start asking people to start doing some of this stuff for you. And then it's just a follow the leader kind of thing. They all get to going. I guess probably the biggest pivotal moment we had as a program was in our second or end of our first year. We had a freshman boy that really had some great leadership potential. I actually talked him into trying out for drum major. He got it. He beat out some juniors that thought that they were entitled to it. And I had a boy come in from my next year's senior class that said, if you allow him to be drum major, all of your seniors next year are going to walk. And I told him, well, it's been nice knowing you. This is my drum major. This is the way it's going to be. They all stayed. Things went haywire after that. Everybody bought in. They knew we meant what we said then. And that we believed in our kids. And it's really, that was the first big turning point. There was another one where we had a drum major that wasn't following. I guess it was our 4th year. Drum major was not buying into what we were doing. she told the band on one Tuesday night to do something. They said no, and they came to me afterwards and said she needs to go. She's not buying in. We took her out the next day, and it was smooth sailing after that. So I think what we do is we listen to our kids. They're the program. They're the reason we're here. If they see an issue that I'm not seeing, luckily on those two, I'd seen the issue coming. We were prepared for what we were ready to do, but they'll let me know what needs to be done. It's their program. I tell them the program will be here long after I'm gone. It'll be here after they're gone. Our job's to leave it in good hands and do the best we can to maintain it along the way.
What a special thing you've created, though, for that and the kids to have.
We love it. We're very blessed to be here right now.
That's awesome. Football games. Let's talk about football games, where you're at. Any special things you ask your students on football days or game days or contest days?
I went to high school at Haltom there in the big rigid 5A Metroplex. And we tried to bring some of that out here, and that obviously was not going to work. So I guess about 4 years ago, I went to a clinic at TBA because I like to watch the football games, but I really hated being the band director at the football games. And then I don't remember what clinic I went to, but they talked about making it a party. And so we turned the kids loose and let them and told them, as long as you're in your sections and you're not wandering around, our job is to be the biggest noisemaker in the stadium. And they turned it into a party. This year, we started wearing, because I didn't want to wear uniforms in the stands all the time. We have new ones. They were breaking down pretty quick. So we did another clinic where we started wearing old football jerseys in the stands. And that we became basically the 12th man then for the team, the kid. And I told them, you act up, you're not following directions, we're back to wearing uniforms. And boy, they latched onto their football jerseys, and that was probably the best PR move that we could make. For me, it's great. I don't worry about any more than, are you sitting in a straight line? Are you doing this and that? It's just when I turn around and I'm ready to play, you better be ready to play. And they've done a fantastic job because they want to wear jerseys and they don't want to sit in straight lines. And if that's all I got to do, then, hey, that's fine with me. I'm too old to worry about it now anyway. So.
And your friends, their bandmates are on the field. I'm sure that makes a difference too for them.
Oh yeah, it is. And we traditionally play the Luke McMillan shows. He put out a few years ago some stuff that he had written on the side that he gave out for free, and they're like little 8-12 measure things. And the kids have taught me more now about how to run a football game the right way and make it fun than I could ever teach them about it. So it's really great. And eventually I'm going to have a drum major that is not a cheerleader or a football player, and I'm not going to have to conduct in the stands, and it's going to be great. I love watching the football. I don't like doing the conducting. So it's
that's awesome.
Another one of my big pet peeves is how rigid we are in everything. So a few years ago, I never wanted to, or I guess it happened when I was teaching six-man. Had a band coming out on the field one time, and one of the judges said, well, I already know which kids are going to be out of step by watching you come out on the field when you came walking down. So we just walk down the sideline now, and we used to just walk out on the field, do our first set. And then a few years ago, we just decided we're going to go out in the middle of the field, and we're just going to have a powwow before we start performing. And everybody wonders now, like, what are we doing in our little circle out in the middle of the field? Because we get out there and make it real secretive and stuff when we're talking. And a lot of our seniors that graduated this year, when they were asked about their special moments from high school, it was being in the Alamo Dome in our little circle in the middle of the field, or being at our rival stadium and we met out on their logo in the middle of the field. And we don't mean anything bad by it. And usually it's just me telling them, hey, remember this set is this and that. But everybody thinks it's some big secretive thing that we're doing out there, and they want to know what's said, and nobody will talk about it. They just, I guess that's really I'm pretty boring. That's really about the only thing I do. So that's about the only weird thing that we do. But now that's it. So yeah, that's pretty boring. So
you're boring.
No, I know.
It's working for you. It's working well for you also.
Yeah.
Any shout outs you want to give?
No, just basically to my wife and all them, or my wife being able to put up with me for this long and being with me 24 hours a day. That's got to be a little bit rough, but we talk about it all the time that I get about 8 hours a day. I get to be the boss at work, and then she's the boss the rest of the day at home. And then I wink because I know not even through that 8 hours am I the boss up there all the time. But no, we're real lucky. All our directors around here at these schools, they've been here for quite a while. We've got a good network where we help each other out. Rivals on the field, but just really close friends off the field, and would do anything to help each other. So I think that's what the key is out here is all these. We have a really successful little triangle of schools, and it's everybody helping each other out all the time because we don't have the staff. We have Midwestern close by. They really don't wander out and do a whole lot with us. So we are each other's private lesson staff and clinicians, and we work very hard to. All our kids know each other. At UIL, we'll stand up and cheer for each other, and we root each other on. That's all I got, I guess. I really don't know.
Awesome, man. That's the way it should be. Yeah, it's just band.
Yeah.
It's the kids put the instruments together the same way, no matter what.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's been missing during this pandemic thing here, because I heard other schools that are working really hard and having rehearsals online. And for us, we knew our kids personally, a lot of their parents were probably out of a job. I didn't want band to be the stress. So I just told them right from the start, I'm not going to give you any assignments, but I'm going to give you a weekly letter you have to check off. And it was just, hey, do you need me? Is everything okay? Are you eating? Stuff like that. And I think we had one music assignment where they had to make us a little video of make some kind of music, and they did the office opening. They did all kinds of stuff. It was great to watch those. But I told them music's supposed to be a stress reliever, not a stress causer. So worry about your academics and let me know if you need me, and we'll take care of everything. So.
Well, great, man. Really good. Any last things you want to leave us with?
No, I think I probably bored you enough.
I'm loving this, man. This is great. This is really.
No, I don't have anything else. That's it for me. So.
All right. Well, Scooter Miller, thank you very much for joining us on the Hey Band Network. It's been a blast.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
For anybody else watching, made it this far, check out the Hey Band Network YouTube channel. Subscribe and like this video, and you can check out other videos on the remote teaching series and leadership series. So thank you very much.
Thank you.